A 12-year-old girl and a 17-year-old boy both died in Bournemouth, South England, yesterday, I believe that's Wednesday, after they both had jumped off the Bournemouth Pier and were dragged out to sea by a riptide. First and foremost, full condolences to all the family and friends of both the 12-year-old girl and the 17-year-old boy. They must be absolutely devastated. We're told that 8 other children were also hurt after getting in trouble in the water close to the beach in Bournemouth, Dorset, South England, which was packed by half-term holidaymakers as well as locals. So school holidays, lots of families heading to the beach, locals of course, but also other people from other parts of the country coming down to enjoy the sun on the beautiful beaches of Bournemouth, which I happen to be very familiar with. The area close to Bournemouth Pier had to be cleared so 2 air ambulances could land, but as we have now learned, 2 school children died in hospital. We're told that the first person to reach the 12-year-old girl was an 18-year-old boy. The boy's father said, "My son was on the other side of the pier swimming with a few friends. All of a sudden, there were a lot of people on the pier shouting and screaming that there was somebody in the water. He swam to the other side of the pier and he found a young girl floating face down in the water. The emergency services were just arriving at the beach, so the 18-year-old boy that was trying to help shouted out to emergency services, and he also scooped up the 12-year-old girl, swam to shore, and the emergency services took it from there. We're told that CPR was performed, and as that was occurring, as emergency services were tending to the multiple people in distress, 2 deceased, 8 other children hurt, and it seems multiple people were in distress in the water. What did some people do? Well, they got out their phones and started recording, hoping to catch a viral video of some children dying. That's the world we live in today. That's the draw of social media. Let's chase subs, let's chase views. Oh look, we can video record some people dying. Let's do that. A man in his 40s who had been in the water at the time of the incident has been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. One source claimed that he might have been encouraging the children to jump into the water from the pier. That man's been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and he remains in custody. There was speculation on social media that the children were hit by a jet ski or a boat. Police have confirmed that that is not the case, that there was no physical contact between a jet ski or boat and any of the children. It's speculated that the wash caused by a jet ski may have had a factor. One local surfer, a witness, said that the day before, on Tuesday, he had witnessed 3 jet skiers buzzing the pier, going very close to Bournemouth Pier, which creates a wash, and that can affect how the water behaves. And I'll say this, I don't know if it's accurate or not, perhaps this is inaccurate, but perhaps that has an influence on the riptide. Maybe it doesn't at all. Another witness said that he believed those involved had been jumping into the sea off of the pier. We're told that an investigation has been launched, and if anyone has any information, please do contact the authorities. I'm going to make a short commentary. As I say, I'm familiar with Bournemouth Beach. I'm familiar with the riptides. You can get pulled from under yourself. The sand can be pulled away, and you can struggle. I've experienced far worse in Australia, but certainly you can struggle with the riptides. You can be pulled away, perhaps particularly children, and perhaps certainly there'd be an enhanced risk if they're injured or in distress for any other reason. So jumping off Bournemouth Pier is a thing. Jumping off a lot of piers in England is a thing, and there is a danger there. You know, if the tide is pulled out, you jump at the wrong time, you can crash into the ground, into the sand, and severely disable yourself or die. We don't know the full details here, what happened, but that might be the case, that they jumped when the water was too shallow and that they collided with the ground, maybe coinciding with some riptide. They struggled and they weren't able to make it. It's such a shame. Bournemouth Beach is a beautiful place. It seems like it was a very sunny day, a very enjoyable day during half term. So as I say, school kids off of school, families enjoying some time together on the beach, enjoying the sun. 2 children lost their lives, 8 others injured. Hundreds or thousands witnessed these harrowing scenes, some of whom decided to get their mobile phones out. It seems that the lifeguards reacted as best they could, and it also seems that perhaps the lifeguards saved at least some others that were struggling in the water at the time. jumping off the pier is a thing, as I say. It's called tombstoning, I guess, because of the risks involved. I've not jumped off a pier myself, but I've jumped off of high rocks, you know, like a cliff-like situation. It is dangerous, but, you know, as kids, you kind of do these things. And it is terrible, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. If they were to fence off the pier, put 10-foot high fences on the pier, you just destroy the beauty. You destroy the romanticism of the area. It would be a shame to do that. I want to know what's going on with this 40-year-old man, or the man in his 40s that apparently, allegedly, was in the water at the time of the incident, arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. So seemingly he was encouraging the children to jump into the water. Why was he doing that? Was he doing that in the hopes that they would injure themselves? I doubt it. I mean, if so, he's an absolute psychopath. I would think it's more along the lines of he thought it would be fun for the kids to experience jumping off the pier. I'll be honest. I don't fully disagree with that. It can be fun to do these reckless things, potentially reckless things. My guess is the man in his 40s made a mistake. That's pretty much all the information that we have at this point. So I'm going to say again, full condolences to the family and friends, schoolmates, school teachers of the 12-year-old girl and the 17-year-old boy that both died. Let's hope that the others that were injured do make a full recovery. All of the witnesses are going to be distraught by this. It's going to shock the town of Bournemouth. That whole area is going to be reeling from this for quite a while. I'm going to say something else as well, which some of you may think is a little bit ridiculous, and you might be right. And that is that I've seen a lot of reports of deaths in water, various types of water bodies in the ocean, in lakes, in rivers, a lot of deaths. And that's of course to be expected. People die, people drown, people get in distress. This is a normal part of life, as tragic as it is. But my feeling is, and I think statistics back this up to at least a certain extent, my feeling is that there's an increase in people dying in bodies of water. Maybe that's relevant in this case, maybe it isn't. But I do get the feeling that more people are finding themselves in distress in water, in bodies of water. And again, in various bodies of water, swimming pools, lakes. So I don't think it's all about the riptide. Again, I've been to Bournemouth Beach. I know how strong the riptide can be. You know, maybe this riptide was particularly bad, and, you know, if you are young and if you are injured, then you're going to really struggle with that riptide. I get that. That's a fact. But having said that, it's not as strong as it is elsewhere in the world. So I do wonder if there's something going on in the world that is causing people to be vulnerable to finding themselves in distress in bodies of water. You know, you might think I'm a little bit crazy for suggesting such a thing, but regrettably, I think I'm onto something. It could be the cold of the water, the difficulties that we find, you know, being in the water, even if you're just playing around, it's exercise. You're putting a stress on your body, and there's probably elevated anxiety. You're dealing with the cold of the water. I'm just wondering if, for one reason or another, being in water is overwhelming people, including young people. But hey, maybe I'm just on the wrong tangent there. So I'm going to wrap things up. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit, and take care.